Hey, how's it going, my coffee friends? Hope you're all doing really well. Hey guys, I just wanted to show you a quick unboxing of this Ecozy espresso machine. Now, I've actually got quite a few things from them before in the past. They make this really cool ice pebble machine. It works so good, y'all. Been using it for a really long time. Now, what makes this special is it really is a smart, user-friendly system with a big giant LCD screen. They call it the 4-in-1 because it does, of course, your Americano, your regular cappuccino, cold brew, and of course, regular espresso. It's really interesting because the water path system is separate between if you do cold and hot. So what's crazy is you could actually put those ice cubes, and you can use that pebble ice machine I was just talking about, and put it inside the actual water tank and add your water. Pretty wild stuff, but really cool setup. This is a very small unit, as you can see. Has a beautiful LCD screen, nice and big. Comes with pressurized baskets, single and double, and also an unpressurized basket. You have your little adapter for cleaning your steam wand. It's a single hole steam wand. Y'all, this is pretty cool. It's a very compact machine, and you'll all see when I turn it on, the screen is gorgeous. This is a really cool unit. Hey guys, my name is Tony, and you are watching Faith and Coffee Bean. Guys, if you're a coffee geek like me, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'm a small YouTube channel, and that is the best way you can support me 100%. Plus, I am just a total geek. I like getting into the nitty-gritty and doing these reviews and experimenting and kind of finding all the cool little features and stuff. Guys, I'm super excited about this. Let me go ahead and turn on the screen, because this screen is one of the most impressive things about this espresso machine, and I'll show you why. Look how beautiful that is. That's awesome. So a big thank you to Ecozy for sending this out to me. Guys, I've actually owned one of their pebble ice makers, and I've used it for 6 months. I love it. They're a great company, and they make a lot of appliances for in the kitchen and all that. They sent this out to me for review. So full disclosure, no money's exchanged hands. All opinions are 100% my own. Y'all, they don't get to hear this before you do. They don't get to tell me what to say. I could say anything. But the cool thing is that they've sent this out to me to share with you guys. So I wanted to go ahead and just let you know that this is a really interesting machine. I do a lot of reviews, and I was just telling my wife, there's a lot of machines that I kind of get, and I'm like, okay, those are cool, but this is something that kind of really blew my mind when they reached out to me. I think I'm one of the first creators to get this machine, so I'm pretty excited. So what makes this machine special is it's very similar to, let's say, like the style of thinking that's part of like the Ninja Cafe style. This isn't a Ninja product in any way, but it is kind of in that vein, where there is a barista assist feature that we will explore. And as you can see here on the LCD screen, the different options you can choose. This machine is really made, I really believe, for someone who is maybe just getting started into coffee, or maybe you are a seasoned coffee veteran like myself. I've been around coffee for the last 20 plus years, worked in a cafe when I was in college. I've shared this before with a lot of y'all that in my day job, I work with commercial insurance, so I actually insure a lot of cafe owners and mobile food carts and all that good stuff. So I'm kind of cafe adjacent. But I'm just saying, like, if you were looking for something that is very compact, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this is crazy compact. The form factor is really small. I don't have a lot of workspace here on my coffee corner. It's literally a coffee corner on my one of my desk in my work at home office. So this is really small, and that's a good thing, especially if you're an RVer, if you're a van lifer, if you want to travel, if you're looking for a really great machine just to have in the office, if you're looking for something not to take a lot of counter space, but kind of be something that's, wow. I mean, look at that screen. It says it all. It's pretty impressive. This would be a great machine for you. So I want to just kind of get into some of the basics, and I'm going to kind of do this review a little bit different. I'm also going to, like I said, I think this machine is really geared towards people who are just getting into coffee. So I'm going to talk about some basic stuff. So if you are, like I said, a seasoned coffee geek like me, I'm going to talk a little basic stuff here. So as far as coffee machines, espresso machines go, really it comes down to what a lot of people get fixated on. I almost said faxated on, like they get stuck in the facts. Is do you go with a 51 millimeter or do you go with a 58 millimeter? Now I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all, 51 millimeter machines make amazing espresso. 58 millimeter machines make amazing espresso. It doesn't. That's not something that's really a thing. I know that sounds weird. So a lot of folks really kind of try to that what they want is something like this, an E61 group head, 58 millimeter, and that's completely fine. This is an industry standard for commercial. 51 millimeter is what this unit is right here, and I'm going to show you a 51 millimeter bottomless portafilter. This is more kind of home style. But again, it doesn't mean that the coffee is amazing. I say that because I don't want someone to get fixated on it. I have one of my favorite machines of all time that was one of my first machines I ever got, and that is the the DeLonghi ECP. And excuse the mess there. But the DeLonghi ECP is a 51 millimeter machine, and it's one of the most popular machines in the world because it makes great coffee and it's a good affordable price. So I say that is if you were kind of thinking, wow, should I go with the 58 millimeter or the 51? Don't let that be your stumbling block. Just get into what makes you happy. So this machine is interesting because not only does it do the barista assist, okay, which is cool. There's a full manual mode, so you can totally go manual if you wanted to. It has a great steam wand over here, so it's going to do your lattes, your cappuccinos, everything, okay? But here's the part where this thing has a little bit of a trick up its sleeve. So a lot of times there's a lot of machines that say they'll do cold brew, and that is definitely an option right here. But they use the same water pathway, okay? This machine has a separate pathway when you do cold brew, okay? And it's so interesting that if you wanted to get ice and put ice into your water reservoir, which sounds crazy, you can do that to cool down the water that's coming through because they're a completely separate paths. That's wild, y'all. So that's pretty neat. So there's some cool technology in here. And then, like I said, this is going to be... Let's kind of talk about next what kind of comes in the box. So inside the box, this is the portafilter that comes with it. It is the 51 millimeter. This particular portafilter is very light and plastic. Okay. Inside, I'm going to show you right now. There's a little bit of plastic, but I actually would recommend going with more pro portafilter. Not that this is not made of plastic and a different quality, but this is the bottomless. That's what I'd really recommend, is using a bottomless personally. But right out of the box, you're going to have everything you need to work, okay? Inside, they're nice enough to give you a bottomless basket. But what usually comes standard with a lot of machines like this, especially for home use, is a pressurized basket. And I'm going to go ahead and show you, in case you don't know the difference, I want to show it to you really quick. And we're going to get this out of here. Now, I wanted to show you there was a little groove right here where if you use the other basket, you could actually prop that up. Kind of an old trick to propping your baskets out. Pretty awesome, right? So this is a pressurized basket. There's a chamber right here between all the holes. It's basically like this inside, okay? But there's a chamber and there's one hole that all the liquid gets forced through, and a lot of people call it like a faux crema. Inside this portafilter on the bottom here, there is a kind of a distribution cylinder, which will split the coffee, and this is made of plastic. So that's kind of what I was talking about before. and this is the pressurized basket. And then there's also a single dose pressurized basket, which a lot of people don't really use those. A little cleaning adapter, which is handy for the steam wand, and the included scoop and tamper. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. A lot of manufacturers include this. Use it for scoop. Please don't use this for a tamper. You definitely want to use a proper tamper. This is a very affordable tamper. This is the iCap V6, and right now it's on special. So it's a good price tamper, and it's a calibrated, and it's basically self-leveling. So that's what I'd recommend. Even a traditional tamper like this would be a good bet for you. So for doing the first brew, I'm going to go ahead and show you what a lot of folks who get this machine are probably going to do. We're going to use pre-ground. Ooh, it's killing me to say that a little bit. Pre-ground coffee, because I just want to show you what that's like. And then I'm going to go into more of the advanced level, and we'll start dialing in with some bottomless baskets. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and dose this up. We're going to use the force today in this review. We're going to be doing some dark side truffle chocolate. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, this was a birthday gift for our Father's Day, I believe, for my wife and my son. They just know that I'm a big Star Wars fanatic, and my son and I tend to use this every now and then. But this is my pre-ground coffee, and I just kind of wanted to show you kind of what happens when you put this into a portafilter. And I also wanted to kind of show you where the fill point is with this. So I just this is supposed to be a two-shot basket. I put 12 grams in, and it's basically full. So I just wanted to let you know that most of the time when we hear two-shot, we think 16 to 18 grams. A lot of times with some of these stock baskets, they are kind of small, and especially the ones that are pressurized. So that's something just to kind of think about, just so you all know. And then, like I mentioned, I always recommend not using these tampers, but for the sake of this, because it's pressurized, we're going to go ahead and tamp with this. And I'm telling you, my brain is like, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? But I do want to kind of show you what this is like right out of the box, okay? I'm not even going to do a fancy pants puck screen. We're just going to add it, and then we're going to do our coffee. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into espresso, and we are going to be brewing our double. And so we know that it's selected for double, okay? And then this is where the brew volume is in there. So there's, basically presets, and then here's manual. Now, I typically go with manual, and for this one, I am actually going to do the just regular amount, or the regular kind of predetermined amount, just so y'all could see what that is. And if we need to stop it, we can, because you can always stop it. So I have my scale over here. If you're new to coffee, make espresso with a scale. You're going to need that to measure your beans out, and it's gonna be a lifesaver. You can get a scale that's pretty good for about $20 to $25. Okay, let's go ahead and brew our first shot. There's the timer. Look at all that crema. And I'm going to go ahead and stop it right about 34. Oh, so I just went ahead and just hit the stop button. Now, the reason why I did that, and as you can see, look at all that crema. That's actually kind of a ridiculous amount of crema. Again, it's a pressurized system, so it's it's pushing it all through. This is not pre-ground. I mean, this is pre-ground. This is not my own espresso that I've ground up. Yeah. So I've created a crema monster. This is the crema Frankenstein, but there is crema. A lot of times, folks that are really into coffee, like someone like Lance Hendrick, just did a really great video about crema, and do you need crema, and is it going to make your coffee taste better? I really recommend y'all do your research on that. That's kind of one of those things. I want some pretty crema, but This is kind of crazy. But that's okay. Like I said, if you're new to coffee and you don't have a a espresso capable grinder, there's nothing wrong. There's no shade in that game. Let's give it a little taste. It's coffee. Again, it's flavored coffee. Yeah. it's good ish. I could taste the crema. I've had this before. This is something that should be pour over. There's part of me that I've always say this, guys. I am an espresso geek. I'm not an espresso snob because I can't afford to be. I definitely try not to get snobby in any way because I think coffee should be approachable. But yeah, I would not serve this to one of my guests and be super happy. But again, if you're new to espresso and that's what you want to do, there's no shade in that game. You know, you got your faux crema here. I'll take one more drink and I'll throw this out. It's okay. Okay. But let me show you how to use this machine in a way that will really make you some good coffee and be delicious. Okay. The double spouted portafilter here, if you want to use it, I really would recommend using it with the non-pressurized basket. And this will be something, if you're new to coffee, that you're going to hear a lot from a lot of coffee folks. It's better to invest in a really good grinder than even the machine itself. James Hoffman has a really cool quote. I always kind of like it and laugh at it. He says, your grinder is what you marry, your machine is what you date. Now, personally, I say get good things. But, you really need a good grinder. So that's going to be a big part of it. Good beans, good water, good grinder. So let's go ahead. We're going to just clear this puck. And I want to show it to you really quick. Y'all, that's not what you want to see. Okay? Again, no shading the game. Not trying to say don't ever do that or anything like that. But it's kind of one of those things where coffee's about setting up good habits. Having good puck prep, making sure you know what you're doing. That's going to be the game changer between bad coffee and good coffee. And this machine, I'm telling you right now, is capable of making great coffee. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead, for the sake of this video, I'm going to set this portafilter aside here because we're going to be working with the bottomless, and I'm going to go ahead and set these accessories to the side here as well. Again, really like that they thought about including those. That's really important. But let's get more into the advanced part of it. All right, y'all, and I want to give you one of my first pro tips in using a espresso machine like this. So there's two really ways that espresso machines work that are common, okay? The two most common. So one is a thermoblock system, which a lot of appliance-level machines, home-use machines use. And I have machines that actually are dual. The other one is boiler. So there's a boiler, usually brass or aluminum, or sometimes even like stuff like copper and stuff. It's pretty wild. But they are a chamber that basically brews the water, a boiler, and sometimes that boiler is a saturated boiler and it sits on top of a group head and gets this group head nice and hot. Okay, but a machine like this doesn't have that. And again, that's not a bad thing. It's not the way it's designed. So to really get great coffee, I always recommend putting a couple shots of hot water through your system to really heat up the group head and heat up the portafilter. So that's what we're going to do right now. Plus, I just use that ground coffee, and I want to push out any of that ground coffee. So I have right here the single cup selected. Now you can double click to go to the double cup, or click again to go back to single. Like I mentioned, there's manual mode. You can set your temperature right here. It's at 198, which is pretty standard. If you're going to be doing a light roast, you can lower that down if needed. If you're doing darker roast, you basically have that control. So we're going to go ahead and just push this through. I'm going to do manual. I'm going to stop it a little bit here in a minute. There is a pre-infusion, as you can see. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and stop that. and let it basically kind of run the water through. We're going to empty this out. And I recommend doing this every time you do your first pull from a machine like this, just to make sure that you're getting great, temperature stability. That's the best advice I can give you. Of course, cold brew, it won't matter, but for doing this type of, hot normal brew, go ahead and make sure that you do that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and prepare our coffee. But I did want to show you really quick the Barista Assist that they do offer. That's this portion right here. So again, if you click on the 1 cup or the 2 cup, you can see it actually says 14 grams right here. Add ground and go fine. And then this is going to put out 60 milliliters of water. So there we know what the presets are basically. And then if you go to the single, you're going to get go fine, and you're going to get the 7 grams for the single basket. Again, that's their standard basket. If you go to coffee, so coffee is kind of like their version of Americano. Okay, that's basically what they're saying. So coffee is really the Americano. That's the classic coffee. This says go coarse, 14 grams. And then you have your large amount of water. So a large amount of water right there. And that's kind of making an Americano style. Okay, so that's where they're getting their 4 different settings. The 4-in-1. There's the cold brew here. Cold brew, you can see there's some ice. Again, that's kind of, if you're going to be putting ice into the machine, literally into the water reservoir, and then over ice. So over ice basically means there isn't water in the water reservoir, but you're going to be pouring it over a cup of ice. So pretty cool. And that's really awesome. Again, like I said, this machine is really geared towards somebody who's like I said, more probably getting into the coffee for the first time. But I would recommend manual mode and getting a scale and just kind of knowing, your ins and outs on how to make your espresso. I'm going to stick with the 2 cup, and then we're just going to really do everything manual for the rest of this video. And then I want to show you the steam one here at the end. But this is a really cool machine. And like I said, the screen kind of reminds me of like something out of Star Trek. Reminds me of if you're a geek like me and you know what this means, an Elkhart screen. So beam me up, Scotty, let's do this. Bring in Captain Picard. I like it. I think it's a pretty screen. So let's go ahead and let's manually do some coffee. I have my portafilter nice and hot, so that's good. I'm gonna empty my water over here, and the portafilter basket I'm using right here is a pretty standard one. If you wanted to use IMS baskets, you can. IMS is like a precision basket. I'll look around here and see if I have an IMS basket, but I did want to kind of show you the standard basket that would come with a portafilter like this first. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this back up here. There we go. And then let's go ahead and measure out some espresso. We're going to do 18 grams. I'm working with some fresh coffee today, so this is Good as Gold. They're found on Amazon. They're a really great roaster, been around since 1969. And then, like I said, if you're new to coffee, you want to find something with a roast date on it. So let's go ahead. This has a roast date. And remember that coffee scoop we talked about, the tamper? I'm actually going to use it as a scoop. So it's going to be what I recommend it to be used for. Okay. Again, 18 grams. There we go. I was really close, 18.1. Let's see if I can get right down to the exact amount. Love it. When you make coffee, it's always great to have a good recipe. This is going to be your traditional 2-to-1 ratio that I'm looking to hit. I'm going to be doing something called the RDT method, Ross Droplet technique. That's where you add a little bit of water on there, a little spritz. And that helps with retention to make sure you get really good retention results within your grinder. Okay. Give it a little shake. And let's go ahead and grind up these beans. All right, y'all, and today I'm going to be using a DC63 conical burr grinder. There are a lot of grinders out there, and there's a lot of different ways you can go. This is a very good grinder, so just a really nice grinder. There's a lot of great budget options. I have a lot of videos out there if you're looking for a good budget grinder. The tuning and the hybrid G5, there's quite a few. Mayship has a really good one. Okay, let's go ahead and get this turned off. So we got our grounds ready to go. Let's do some puck prep. Always want to make sure your portafilter is nice and dry. Everything looks good. I'm going to add a dosing ring as we're working with this today. Dosing ring helps everything kind of stay in the right spot. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our coffee in. And then I'm using a WD tool, a wise disbursement technique, and this helps break up any clumps. And these tools are very inexpensive, or you can go really super high end. There's a huge amount of ones out there. Just do your research. I have a lot of videos. This one is made by Kathy Singh. It's very high end, but there are a lot of really good budget options out there. And they all do the same thing. Okay, I'm just giving it a little shake to help even the bed just a tiny bit. Okay, take that off. Then I'm going to do some distribution. So I'm finding my distributor. Got my 51 millimeter gravity distributor, putting it right on top. And this helps get the bed nice and even so that when we do our tamp, it'll be a good tamp. Okay. Now we're going to get the tamper. Okay. Got that nice tamp. I'm going to go ahead and put a puck screen right up top. And that helps keep the group head nice and clean. And a lot of times, a lot of people say it does help with distribution. All right, my coffee friends, let's pull our first shot. And I've added a shot mirrors to help you kind of see it come right out of the group head. Let's do our manual shot. I got my scale below. Get our pre-infusion. I think we could have went a little too fine. We'll find out. Yeah, it's definitely too fine. Sometimes you got to dial in, and that's what we're doing here. We need to definitely dial this in. That's too fine. Yep, way too fine. And it knows it, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and go coarser. All right, my coffee friends, believe it or not, sometimes I'm kind of happy when that stuff happens. So it gives me an opportunity to kind of show you guys something that you might experience yourself. And that what happened is I just went too fine, so the machine was like, nope, sorry buddy, not gonna do it. But that's okay. That actually gives me a good opportunity to kind of help you along. Hopefully if you have that happen. And a lot of times when you watch review videos, you know, they want to show you all the cool stuff and all the great stuff and the perfect Instagram shot. I'm not one of those guys. I like to kind of show you the real stuff of what happens when you make coffee. So this is the basket that I was using. This is a very stock basket that comes with a lot of bottomless portafilters. And if you buy it, it's probably going to be something like what you're going to get. Okay. I'm actually going to be using an IMS basket. So this is an Italian made basket. It's competition grade. They probably do the competitions in the 50 millimeters, and I have 58. This is 51. This is the Owl IMS, and this is by Barista. This is a really good precision basket. I know it's going to be perfect for 18 grams. So I'm going to go ahead and do two things here. I'm going to go a little bit coarser. Well, three things. I'm going to add in my new basket. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and put some hot water in this as well, just to bring it up to temp. And then we're going to go a little coarser, and then we're going to brew some good coffee. All right, y'all. So I went ahead and went coarser with this. So we're going to go a little bit coarser. Just make sure I have everything all clear before I add in the new espresso. All right, we're all set. All right, let's go ahead and do some puck prep and then pull this shot. All right, shot number 2 went coarser and changed the basket, and that's the main thing. So let's go ahead and pull this shot. Here we go. Definitely faster. Got some crema. I'm going to stop it right at 32. Lots of crema. Okay, so let me pull it up. Oh. So this does not have a 3-way solenoid, which means that you're going to have to kind of work on your shot timing if you want to get it exact. But look at that, y'all. That's good. Time-wise, that was about the 1-to-2 ratio. So it has a little bit more liquid than I normally would like. But let's go ahead and give us a little taste. Okay, give it a little stir, a little taste. And let's put this on the refractometer as well. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and put this on the refractometer just for fun to see how we did. And again, this is not an exact scientific thing, but I'm just for my own barometer to figure out where we're at. Okay. Normally you need to let this cool down and do it a couple different ways, but this gives me a good idea. Okay. Awesome. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. So basically we are sitting at a 10.32. So 10.32, espresso range is 8 to 12. Let's give this a taste. Again, this is very freshly ground. Well, I just ground it right now, but freshly roasted coffee. Oh, that is delicious. Wow, what a night and day difference from my first shot. This is chocolatey. There's a good nutty taste to this. Almost like a walnut taste at the end. Really good mouthfeel. That's delicious, y'all. This is my first real espresso of the day, so I'm going to finish this one. Delicioso. Oh my goodness gracious. That is awesome. So yeah, guys, that's something, you could basically do, which is amazing. Again, if we were going to do cold brew over ice, I might go ahead and just show you that feature really quick. Even though I don't have any ice, just so you can kind of see what would come out and how that works. But before we do that, I do want to show you the steam wand a little bit here and just how powerful it is, because it is a very powerful steam wand. I'm not a typical milk drinker. I like to just drink my espresso straight. But if you are, this would be a great machine for it. And the reasoning behind that is because there is really good articulation when it comes to the wand itself. Also, the tip has more of that pro design. It's not the Palereno type style. It is a single hole. These can be upgraded. I don't know if the manufacturer sells it, but a lot of third-party companies sell a 3-tip if you wanted to do that. But even the 1-tip, I find works really well. So let me just show you really quick the steam wand and what that's like switching over, just so you know, because it is really cool. So we're gonna go ahead and go into steam mode, and then I'm gonna get a empty vessel here for steaming. All right, my coffee friends, now that we're in steam mode, all you need to do is turn that steam on. Once it gets up to the right temp, it's going to shoot out some hot water and then go right into steam mode. And as you can see, that's very powerful. Definitely going to be really good for doing latte art and making your lattes and steaming your milk. I mean, that's strong, y'all. Definitely strong. So I call that a win. It's a seam win. You can use this also to make your Americanos, and that's where I tend to do this the most. So you would go ahead and click on it again, and that puts it into water mode. This would be also a way if you needed a cool down system after using it in steam mode, you could do that. It's just kind of a little bit of a hack, I guess. But here's water mode. So it's instead of doing steam, it's actually producing hot water. Okay, so that's if you're doing your Americanos. And then to get back into regular mode, you just click it one more time and you're back into regular mode. So that is awesome. Let me go ahead. I want to show you one more thing. All right, y'all. So if you have been watching a lot of coffee stuff, you might have been hearing something about step-down baskets, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and show you one that I just got right now. And I'm going to kind of talk about it a tiny bit, just because I know that a lot of folks are kind of thinking about this kind of stuff. So this is a step-down basket for 58 millimeter. This is actually a norm core step-down basket. What people are using this for is to create big, giant, deep shots of coffee. And this has kind of been the phase and the fad, and everyone's into it. And I like it. I've actually been doing coffee like this for a really long time. And I'm going to give you a little secret of how I've been doing coffee like this. That's this, a 51 millimeter Portafilter, which that's what this is. So this is a 4-shot basket. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pop this out. This is to my DeLonghi ECP. I was just talking about. It's one of my first espresso machines for home use. And that is a big, deep basket, y'all. This is basically what a step-down basket from a 58 is kind of creating. And it's something you could easily do with a machine like this. So if you were to go ahead, we have our puck, let's clean it out, all that good stuff, and pop in a basket. You can pop in, super hot, guys. So you could actually pop in one of these big, giant, tall baskets right in there, and you can create those soup shots. You can create the big, giant shot. So if that's something you want to do, this is completely capable of it. So that's pretty cool. Again, super, super cool. And guys, the fact that you're able to do this, ice coffee, if you wanted to do the traditional, there's a lot of good options with this. So it's pretty awesome. All right, my coffee friends, and I wanted to give you my final thoughts on this machine. It is really neat. If you guys want me to do any more with it, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I'm super impressed with it. So here's kind of my thoughts. Right now on Amazon, this is going for a pretty good promo. It's running about $200, and for its feature sets with the screen, with everything, I could definitely see why this would be a really great machine to get. If you go to their website, they do have it for a little bit higher, of course, obviously. So I definitely recommend going to Amazon. I will include my affiliate links, just so you guys know how that works. If you purchase through my affiliate links, a small percentage goes back to us, but you never pay any more for it. So it's just a way to help support the channel. Basically, it helps me buy more beans. That's the best way to put it. But this is a really cool machine. I really think, like I said, if you are someone just getting into coffee, or you're looking for a very compact machine that could do a lot, this is a really good one. I really like the company and what they do. There's a couple things that I would kind of say that if you wanted to go more pro, it's that whole debate. Do you need to do 58 versus 51? I don't think so. That's my personal thought on it. I have machines that are 58 millimeter, but I do have that because there's a lot of tools for it. So it's kind of that chicken before the egg discussion. I love my 58 millimeter machines, and I love my 51 millimeter machines. They both make excellent coffee. So it's really finding a unit that's going to work well for you, that's going to be right to your right budget, and it's going to have the feature set you're looking for. So I think this is pretty cool. I definitely would call this a win. I don't think this is necessarily in the budget category. I think it's somewhere in between. I think it's feature packed. You're going to get a lot for what you're getting, but it's going to be that compact size. That's kind of the big part of it. Y'all, tell me what you think about this. I'm super excited. It's pretty cool. And y'all, I really appreciate you hanging with me. Your subscription, you hanging with me, you guys, this means the world to me. Like I said, I'm a small YouTuber, so I really appreciate that so much. Remember to share my videos and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and y'all make some great coffee. Have a good one.